table in the back there that you can look at the things that they have here, and just if you have questions afterwards. Of course, at the end of the service today, we're going to have coffee and tea, and so there'll be time to kind of spend with them, and probably between the service. So we usually we'll be done about 10:20 in here, and then we'll have a break and then service, and then Victor will be preaching for us. So I'm going to let them or Victor come up, and then we'll go from there and let him explain some things to you. He's been here, and Carol's been here before. Victor has been here by himself a couple of times, so I think this may be the third or so visit. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, cool.
Thank you. Good morning. What we're going to do this morning is we're going to, hey, love, bring those to me if you would. So we have a prayer card. Thank you. We've got prayer card back there in the back. If you have a prayer card, you can pick up one of those when we finish. You can also sign up for our newsletter if you're not on our newsletter, if you care. So you can do it with an hour code, QR code. Or you can sign it up by hand, whichever way you like. So if you do that, that'd be a great thing. So we are in Cambodia. So what we want to do this morning is just talk a little bit about the ministry and what we're trying to do. So you can go to the next slide. I'll just say to the next slide when we get ready. So what we do, our mission is to glorify God by working together to plant reproducing churches. So we're making disciples, and then the Holy Spirit will form churches from that. All right, you go to the next one. So we're making disciples, and kind of the mission, the thing we're doing is we're introducing Jesus into broken situations. Cambodia has a lot of broken situations of all sorts. One of the broken situations in Cambodia is us. And so we are in need of God. We are in need of the Holy Spirit in that broken situation. You have broken situations here in Texarkana. And so what we're doing is we're trying to introduce Jesus into all these different areas. All right, so you can go to the next slide. So results. So the first thing I want to think about, you go to the next slide, is what are some things we get to see? So God is active. He's working. Sometimes we don't get to see it, right? Sometimes we're so dull that we don't recognize it, and it's actually there. So one of the things that we've been able to do is we're able to have baptism. So was it last Saturday or the Saturday? Last Saturday we had 80 people got baptized. All of the ministry got together, went down to the river. You can see the river here. Notice there's a rope. See the first person standing here, there's a little rope you'll see in the water, because Khmer people in general don't swim. They don't like to swim. And so if you go past that rope, it gets the water gets fast, and they'll go to heaven early. And so that's not the point, right? And so they walked out to the rope and grabbed the rope, and then they got baptized. We had 80 people get baptized. Last year we had 100 people. The year before that was 120 people. And so the Lord, you're getting to see some of the results. You can go to the next slide. So here it is. You can just see you're just out in the river, and we had a big party. They had food and service and everything. Go to the next one, please. So here you can see some of the people and all the good stuff. Right, next slide. Another result is that we were able this past term to start the vocational training. So we have a vocational school for young men. These are men who have either failed their exam for high school or they have dropped out of school. And so in Cambodia, if you fail the senior exam, you're not allowed to go to college. You can't go to college. Here, if you don't do well on your SAT or something, then you may go to another school or a state school or a junior college or something. In Cambodia, when you fail that exam, you cannot go. And so this is an opportunity for men to come in. It's a residential program. They live in the dorm, and we're teaching them welding, woodworking, electrician, mechanics, and plumbing. And so we're teaching them about the Lord. And so here's the Bible study. You go to the next one. They're studying Bible. They're doing Bible studies in the dorm. We've had 2 men get saved in there that were unsaved. They've gotten saved. Then one of those guys was baptized in their baptism. You go to the next slide. Beautiful. You want to talk about this? I think that mic is alive, I think.
So another exciting thing that happened in this last term, actually this just happened in October, we were able to open a 5-year-old program. So all these different things that Victor's talking about, the foundation of the ministry is these village Bible studies, which he'll talk a little bit about. But out of the village Bible studies, we've tried to see what are all the different ways we can touch people with the gospel? And so it might be vocational school, it might be our preschool program, which just started year 4, but our kindergarten just started this past October. The lady you see here in the picture, that's our director, and we invite the parents in. Once again, we go into the homes for visits on Saturdays, but then we invite them to campus. Every couple months we have a parent day, and she is passionate about Jesus and the gospel, and so when the parents come in, it's just an exciting time for her to share with the moms and dads. So we're really grateful for our 5-year-old program.
So the next slide. So this is those Bible studies that she was talking about. What our ministry is about is we have 9 different villages in the area that we have Bible studies in these different villages. And so they go in there every week. They're preaching the gospel to these people. It's adult Bible studies. And then once a person has attended those Bible studies, we invite the children into different other areas of ministry so that we can reach the family through multiple avenues. And so we're opening new Bible studies. This is the literacy for women. So one of the things that we do is women who aren't able to read or write, we teach them how to read and write Cambodian language, the Khmer language. And so these are some ladies there. They graduated. When they graduated, they read the Word of God as part of the graduation ceremony. And so it's another way to try to reach the families.
You see the hammock in the back? So moms come with their kids, and so it's a pretty lively time.
Absolutely. Next slide. So those are some of the things that we've gotten to see that we kind of wanted to highlight results. What are the activities that we do? So what we're doing is we're introducing Jesus into broken situations. So we're Americans, and so geography is a little challenged sometimes. So here's Cambodia. Notice Thailand is over here. We got Laos, and then Vietnam is on the side. So that's Cambodia. We used to be in Phnom Penh, kind of the lower bottom of the map. Now we're up in Battambang Bong in the upper left-hand corner. So you can go to the next slide. So Cambodia is less than 1% Christian. And so they are a Buddhist country. And so they're also animist. An animist is someone who has different spirits of all kinds. They have spirits of the house, they have spirits of the ancestors, and they have spirits of the cities or of the high places. So this is Lok Thai is his name. He's a massive statue. It's like 4 stories high. It's a big old statue there in Battambang Bong. There's a story about the stick becomes magical and he helped found the city. So it's a spirit that people are worshiping. If you look at the bottom, you can see people down there, and they're bringing different kinds of offerings to the spirit. So they'll bring fruit, they'll bring rice, they'll bring drinks, they'll bring animals, pigs, food and all sorts of stuff. They'll bring and offer it to this. They're not offering to Lok Thai because they love Lok Thai. They're offering it to Lok Thai because he will hurt them if they don't appease him. And so that's what they're trying to do. All right, you go to the next slide. This is our staff. We have 45 Khmer staff. So Carol and I have a teammate, Chris and Heidi. So there's 4 foreigners in our team. And the 4 foreigners, what we do is we train the Khmer nationals, and then the Khmer nationals are working with the village. So I don't go into the Bible study. I don't go into the village to teach the Bible. Instead, we work with the Khmer staff that we have, and then our Khmer staff goes. So we have 3 men that every week are going into these different villages, and they're teaching them the Bible. Carol is working with teachers doing the preschool stuff. I'm working with the vocational. We're working with other Khmer people as they work and teach and help the children. So like today, it's tonight in Cambodia. They're 12 hours ahead of us. And so they've already had church today. They've already been working services. Tomorrow, ministry is operating. Even though we're here, the ministry is still rocking along because we are working with the Khmer to do it, and then the Khmer are doing that. And so it's an opportunity. So this is our people. These are our 3 leaders. These are our directors. We call them directors of our ministry. The man in the middle is the very first guy. About 9 years ago, he came and began studying in the villages, began to do Bible study. And so now it's branched out. These are the 2 ladies that are also working. The lady on the left, her name is Kimmy. She works with the vocational training that I'm a part of also. And so she's kind of the one that's over that in the dorms and all that kind of stuff. You go to the next slide. So our ministry has multiple facets. Remember, we were talking about it starts as the core of introducing Jesus through these Bible studies. So we have 9 Bible studies right now, and those 9 Bible studies are really the seeds of churches. They will eventually become a church, is what they're going to be, that's what we're hoping and trying to do. And so right now, they're communities of believers that are beginning to grow, and as they continue to grow, then they'll become a church. And so we've got all the different facets. We've named the different kind of ministries, the different areas. So we have the core is in the Bible study, but then we work with students, and then we work with students in the 4 and 5-year-olds, and then we have the vocational, and then we have the women's literacy program. And so we have many different ways of touching that family, so that the more we can touch the family and introduce Jesus, the more effective that will be. We'll be able to reach the family. So this is another Bible study. So part of the activity that we have going on is ongoing activity of Bible studies. We're trying to open new villages and working with them, and so that's a way of reaching this. So this man in the middle with the little scarf thing, his name is Puti. I'm getting to disciple him. So every week he and I meet, and he's getting his doctorates in education. So he's quite a higher class, so to speak, person, very higher status in Cambodia. And so most of our people are the children and families that live on the street. That's our target audience. But Puti is a little bit different in that regard, and so I'm getting to go disciple him, and so that's what we're trying to do. This is the couple in the middle is our dorm parents. They're the ones that are doing the vocational training. They have the dorm where the young men stay and live. And then the lady on the right is Kimmy. She's kind of the director over that region, that area. Go to the next slide. Part of what we do in the vocational is we're teaching them these skills, right? So we have short-term teams that will come, and they're experts. They're you guys. They're welders. There's guys that are mechanics or plumbers or whatever they are. And they come with expertise, and they come in, and for 2 weeks, they'll come and do a project with our students. They'll teach our students how to do stuff as well as welding or whatever it is. They'll teach our students as well as our staff. And so it's an opportunity for experts to come in and help us understand how to do those things. And so you can see all the different pieces that we got going there. You want to talk about that, love?
So those 7 logos that Victor had up there, and we've talked about some of them, this is another one. It's called the Roots of Grace program, and every day 90 kids get picked up around 6 in the morning, and they come to a center that we've set up, and some of them need to have a shower just because of their conditions at home. And then we put a uniform on them and give them breakfast and get them to a school in town. It's just it's a private school, but it's not a Christian school. So we hope that the next time we are here, instead of having 7 little logos across there, that there's 8, because we want to start a Christian school for these students. The school they go to teaches Buddhism. They're also not well loved there. They're seen as the poor kids, the street kids. They're not well accepted, and so we desperately want to start a Christian school. So that is just on the horizon. We're talking about that. We're wanting to start it in the next 12 months, and so something you can be praying about. But these are some of those 90 kids at a program before we left. The picture before that was just myself and the director of our preschool and kindergarten. She's an amazing lady. This is the day we were leaving. This is right before Christmas, and I ran over to the 5-year-olds, and I said, let's get a picture quick. So for those of you young people sitting in here, does that look like your school lunch? Do you see what's on the plate? What's on their plate? Rice, yeah, lots of rice. And so that's the base of their meals at the center. We feed them lunch and we feed them breakfast, and then they'll put a little soup on top or a little vegetables and meat. So here's some of the kids. Sometimes people ask us from the States, what can we send with you back, or what can we bring if a short-term team comes? And I always mention Play-Doh. The kids absolutely love Play-Doh. And so here they're playing Play-Doh. This is Friday afternoon fun time. And if you'll notice the teacher sitting there, this is kind of a cultural thing I love to point out. Can anyone notice from the picture what the teacher's doing? Yeah, trimming their fingernails. And so this is a cultural thing I had to learn. Even after 16 years, we still learn things. One of the Cambodian directors, Victor showed the 3 of them earlier. He came to me and he said, those teachers need to be more regular and more on top of cutting the kids' fingernails. It's not hygienic for them to have longer fingernails because the dirt gets under there, and then when they're eating, just with their hands and stuff. So the teacher on Friday afternoon cycles through the kids while they play Play-Doh and cuts their fingernails. The little flashcards are numbers, Khmer numbers, and the kids are matching up little plastic shapes on the string. This is the 4-year-old group. This is also right before we left, and they're pretty cute, right? They did the nativity scene at the Christmas program. The sheep stole the show, let me just tell you. They were amazing. Okay, so another aspect. You've heard vocational school, preschool, women's literacy. This is a dorm, and these are 2 dorms pictured together. High school girls and university girls. They come from outside the city of Battambang, and we house them there in the city so that they can attend either high school or college. And the women that run these 2 dorms, I mean, it's almost a 100% rate that the students in the dorms come to know the Lord during their 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, however long they're there. They are passionate about Jesus and their love for these young ladies, and they just invest. And lives are changed for Christ in these dorms. It's exciting. This is back to the women's literacy that you can see the teacher there working with some of the students. Interns, the young lady on the right, she will leave in mid-May. We go back May 1st. She's been with us for 10 months. We always welcome interns. In the vocational program, Victor talked about like just some short term, if there's some men that can come for like 2 weeks and do something short term. I'm always welcoming anyone who has education background. Our teachers love Jesus. They love kids. They have no education background. And so sometimes there's some teachers that can come for a week or 2 and just do some little short seminars. And so this girl's been with us actually 10 months, and she was a kindergarten teacher in Ohio for 5 years, but she leaves mid-May.
So this is some interns that we had. So we have a lot of different opportunities for internship. So we call it internship because most of these students are younger students, but we have midterms, which would mean you're coming for a year, you're coming for 2 years. There's long term, you're going to come as a career missionary, but there's also 2-week, 3 months, 6 months. You want to just come over and say, hey, I would like to come and help. Maybe you're in education, maybe you're a craftsman, maybe you have some skill in woodworking or welding or something like that. Or maybe you just love kids and you want to come and help with the students and help with that piece. Maybe you're Bible study and you're wanting to help with the discipleship stuff. And so there's lots of different opportunities. Those were some German interns that came from Germany that we have almost all the time. We have a set of people from Germany that are coming in there. There's a missionary organization there, and these students are able to come in. And right now we've got a crew from Germany that they were lifeguards. 2 of the guys were lifeguards. And so because of the skills they brought, and the Lord brought them in, we're doing swimming lessons with our students when we don't normally get to do that, but we've got skills. God brought somebody in there with that skill, so we're doing that. And so we would be able to use whatever the Lord brings us. So then you can go to the next slide. Challenges and opportunities. One of the things that we're trying to do is we're trying to open more and more of those Bible studies, those village Bible studies. And so this is Locru saying, he's the guy that's in charge of that. And so he's doing that. That's it's a challenge and it's an opportunity because it's fun, it's great, but it also spreads us a little bit thin. So you can pray about that as we go through there. We're also trying to raise up leaders in there. Part of my responsibility is to write Bible studies for us as we do the leaders. So those Bible studies, those 9 Bible studies are out there. And so as we raise up leaders in there to become the church kind of leadership, We're doing Bible studies specifically for the leaders, and so that's part of that's not a natural thing for Cambodian. Cambodian likes everybody to stay together. They're very family-oriented, so they don't want people to leave, come together, and then they want bigger and bigger groups. What we're needing to do is to train those leaders and release them so that they can go back into their village and they can become autonomous pastors, autonomous churches that will do their thing there. And so that's a challenge and an opportunity. Another opportunity is the preschool. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, so we're doing lots of training, as I had mentioned, and a challenge is, and it's an opportunity, I was mentioning to some folks last night, a lot of our workers are young, and so, you know, you invest a year or two in them and you give them all this educational stuff, and how do you reach the parents in the village, and how are we going to impact with the gospel? And then after 2 years, they come and they tell me, I'm expecting a baby. And I want to go like, oh, yay, but on the inside, I'm like, oh no, they're probably not coming back. And so it's a challenge and an opportunity is, how do we keep training people? Because in order to bring them in, it's just that touch with the gospel. I mean, I love that they're learning their ABCs and their 1, 2, 3s in their own language. But we're passionate about Jesus and the gospel. But it's been a great arm, this preschool and kindergarten. But we need trained people in order to be able to do that well. And so it's a challenge. You can pray about that. How do we keep training and training and training? We're trying to get our training materials. Maybe we video things that people can watch. We have more things written down instead of us just having to constantly. This past fall, I trained 3 new teachers. And so that's exciting but all-consuming as well.
Yeah, so what we're discovering is that one of our primary goals is going to need to be having a continuous teacher training program within our system, because we've got so many areas in our program that use teachers of different sorts, of different kinds. And so we're kind of changing a little bit of our thinking in we really need to become a teacher training kind of facility, as well as all the different pieces that we're doing. And so you can talk about this.
This is the mom of one of our 4-year-old students. You'll see the 4-year-old student there, and that's their third little one laying in the front. Challenges are financially. You see a lot of very difficult situations and deep poverty in a lot of these places. Victor talked about broken situations, and her husband was in prison, but he is out now, and there has been some contact with them, with the dad, with the gospel. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure where Dad is at right now, but we keep working on that, and we keep going to the home Saturdays. In Cambodia, usually kids go to school Monday through Saturday. But since we're setting it up ourselves, we get some choice. So Monday through Friday is school, and Saturdays are home visits. So that's when the teachers go into the home, listen to the parents' stories, pray with them, cry with them, share Jesus with them. And these little girls, they have to go onto the street at night, she and her older sister, and sell roses. And that's what the parents have them doing to help financially. And it's not so much that, how would I say this? It's not a great opportunity for the kids, let's just say that. It's sometimes a bit of laziness on the parents' part that will use the children. And so it's a broken situation.
So about 2 years ago, our ministry bought property. We bought 5 acres of land out about 2 miles outside of town. You can see it's a rice field. It's just literally rice fields all around. And so we put about 3.5 feet of dirt on top of 5 acres to get it up out of the water. We're wanting to build our ministry center there so that we can right now we're renting properties all around, and so this would allow us to consolidate all of our ministry together. And so part of the challenge and opportunity is that we're having to raise money. We got to put a fence around it and then build the different buildings, and we got to have utilities brought to it and all that. And so you got to have a fence because people will steal from you. So you know what a T-post, a metal fence post is, the T-post metal post. They don't sell those in Cambodia, but I went to a welder and bought them. and I had a welder make them. And so I put them down on the ground as they were going to bring the dirt in, and I would mark it on the metal post so that you could tell every 33 centimeters they would drive like steamrollers, like a compactor, to pack the dirt down, right? And so I would just mark it every 33 centimeters. And so I put this post in the ground. I had 12 of them made. And so I put them all out there, getting ready for the dirt to come, and got everything marked, and everything was good. We went home, came back the next day. All of them were gone but one. And they couldn't get it out because it was just too deep in the ground, I think. And so you got to put a fence up. So before you can build anything, you got to build a fence. And the fence is a brick wall. So it's about we'll have a 10-foot brick wall around the property that you have to build first before you can start building the stuff in there. So that's a challenge and an opportunity. These are two guys that were helping me out there on the property. You go to the next one, there you go. So they brought in all kinds of dirt, all kinds of stuff. So that cost us $60,000 just to put the dirt on the ground to get it ready to put the building on. You can go to the next one. There you can see the kind of the elevation of the dirt above the rice fields around it. That's what ultimately we will have. That's part of what one day when the Lord brings all the money in, we'll do that. So part of what our challenge is to raise the money to be able to build that. Yes, love.
Just one thing to mention on that. The reason we're doing that, we're not necessarily needing to consolidate everything for a purpose. I mean, right now we're just all over town in these different areas, but we're paying rent on all these different locations around the city. So we need to get rid of the rent. This property is now paid for, the dirt is on there, and so that's why we're bringing everything together, except for the Village Bible Studies. Obviously, those will all stay in their locations, also tutoring centers around town. But everything else will come on this one piece, so that, Lord willing, we get rid of all the rent.
So this is our cup. This is the four foreigners. So Chris and Heidi, he's the team lead, and then Carol and I. And so the four of us are directing the ministry. We're working that. We're training the nationals, and they're doing the ministry there as well. And so you can pray for us. Part of the challenge and the opportunities is that. So I don't know about you, but when I'm on the field by myself, I'm a really good person. And I can really do right, and as soon as I have teammates, it's not so easy sometimes. Sometimes whenever somebody else is around, they have other ideas, and sometimes the unity that we're supposed to have doesn't happen. So one thing you can pray about, one of the challenges and opportunities, is we have to work with these people, but they have to work with us. And so there's a need for us to work together and to honor the Lord in that thing together. So do you have any kind of questions? I think we've got 10:10. So we got about 10 minutes or so. You have any questions?
Or comments?
Yes, sir.
You don't have to raise your own support for your livelihood.
Yes, sir. Right. We have raised support for ourselves, yes, sir. And thank you. The church, you guys are supporting us. You are giving us donations every month, and so that allows us to be on the field. So we've had to raise money, and so we've raised that money. So for us, we're in the process of raising money for this, and so it's our teammates. They're raising money for the building program, and so we're needing about $450,000 to get the building. To get the brick, the wall around, as well as to get the utilities brought in to begin the building of the buildings and stuff. So yeah. Yes, sir. So we have had to raise money. They're raising money for themselves as well, and then the two of us are raising monies for the ministry itself to go on, for like our staff and things.
And that sounds like a lot of money, but we're having to bring the utilities from so far, right? Like
Yeah.
the electric and the water is coming a long ways out to the property, so.
And when you're an NGO and you're coming into Cambodia, you might think that Cambodia would be eager to help you because you're trying to help their people. That's not the way they see it. The government officials see it as, ooh, there's somebody that probably has some money, so they can make money off of you. And so we like to call them fees. It makes us feel better if we call them fees to do work. Really, it's where you have to give them some money before you can do anything. And so it's a bribe is basically what we would call it. But they just don't do anything until you give them some money, and so you have to work with all that. And so the utility company won't even bring us the power until it's going to cost us $60,000 just to get the electricity brought out to the property. And so, it is a little bit far away. It's about 2 miles away, but it's still, it's more than it would be for the Khmer person to do that. So, yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, they sure could, absolutely. One thing we're going to do with our vocational is when we get the buildings built for the schools, we've got to get all these desks, we've got to get all these cabinets. All of that will be done by our vocational school. Whenever Carol started the 5-year-old program this past year, we used the vocational training to build the tables for the kids, and it was so she's able to use her money to buy the material, and then the vocational could use that same money then to build the tables, and so we got a twofer out of it. So yeah, that's exactly what we'll be doing, for sure.
He may have been asking if skilled workers would be needed to help build once we start building on the property, the buildings on the property.
Yes, absolutely. With the school, one of the things we're thinking about is short-term teams coming in to help doing electrical or doing some of the plumbing or carpentry work. Some of the work will be done by Khmer just because it's just the way they do it, and it would be the easiest and best way to do that. But there's pieces that we will have teams that we want teams to come in and do it. Absolutely, yeah. Yes, sir. That one up there, and then the New Beginnings shop down here. That'll be the vocational training. So we'll build that one first. We'll build the fence and the vocational, the New Beginnings, and then we want to build the school building up there. Yes, sir.
So wanting to start that within a year, you said 12 months or so. What's the plan right now for starting a school if that property's not complete?
True. We are tossing around the idea of starting first and second grade either this year or next year in the current facilities. That would let us kind of begin the process. And then the next year maybe add third and fourth grade. And then after that add one grade at a time until we get to ninth. We want to be K4 through 9 is what we want eventually. So we're kind of not sure exactly when that rating is going to work, but that's the ideas. Because to do the full thing, you need the buildings. And then the government stuff, the way you do the government there is that you start a school and you start functioning. And when you got your building, then the government wants to come in and inspect everything and get you the stuff,
What's the plan once this is finished in getting everyone out to the property? It's a little remote.
Yeah. So the city is moving that direction. And so in a few years, it won't be remote like it is. It's already beginning. There's a place not too far from our site that's already got I guess it's a housing subdivision. They call them Patelavang, so they're like townhouses. And they've already started building. One of them there is one over on the far side, and so there's another one being built. So we think in about 5 years that it will no longer be remote. There's also a big private school, one of the big private schools in the area, has bought property just across the rice field from where we are, and they bought, I don't know how many acres, maybe 15, and it's a big school going to go in over there. So it's the moving place. This is where people are going. So I think it was a good decision.
And all of our 90 students that we have now, those get picked up by our staff in the morning. We have little, what do you call those?
They're tuk-tuks, but it's like an open air cart that you can ride in.
I don't have the English word for that, sorry. An open
It's not
air
a bus.
truck, kind of like a pickup truck that would have benches on the sides, maybe in the back, and it's covered. And so we pick up all 90 kids every morning, yeah.
So there's no, parents don't bring students, we go pick up people. So all of the staff, all of the different ministries, we go get people and bring them in. Yes, ma'am. Two. This is 2 miles. 2 miles outside of town. Absolutely. Those. Yes, ma'am. And as we get more Bible studies. So what we're doing is those 90 students are there because their mom or dad or aunt or uncle or grandparent is attending one of those Bible studies. If they're actively involved in the Bible study, they don't have to be a believer already, but they have to be a consistent member or consistent attendee of the Bible study. Then we invite their students, their children, into the different aspects of the ministry, wherever they might fit. So they'll continue to be a part of that.
How many students does that school house, or do y'all ever
So the new one, you meaning, or right now? Yeah, the new one will have, I think we'll be able to house about 250 students when we get that one fully built. Don't you think, is that about right?
Maybe even 300.
Maybe 300, yeah. And so, right, what we're going to do at the beginning is we'll have, so those 90 students, some of those 90 students will continue to go to the private school that they're in, and some of the younger ones will go into our Christian school. And then the next year, 2 more grades will, instead of going to the private school, will come to us, and then we'll eventually pull them out where there'll be no more sending there. So there'll be kind of a transition. So that means we'll have school, our Christian school in the building. At the same time, those other students are doing homework help, after school help, English, Bible in the other rooms until it finally gets rotated fully around. Yes, sir.
How successful is the vocational training and creative?
That's great. I love that. And I have a great story I get to tell about it now that I didn't have a week ago. Yeah, so this is our first time. This is our first group of students, and so they will graduate in April. And so we don't get to do what we really wanted to do. What we really wanted to do is to teach them all ourselves, but I don't have a Kamai man yet that has the skills to be able to do that. So what we do is they're coming in the dorm, they live with us, we teach them the Bible, English, and computers, and then they go to the vocational school system. They're in the government vocational school in the mornings to get their degree, which is not the best, but that's the best we can do at the moment. And so then we have internships that they'll be with different local businesses, and so they kind of do that over and over in different cycles of about 6 months. So it's an 18-month program, and so these first students are going to graduate in April. But what we just found last week is one of our students, because of the degrees that he's been doing, he's an electrician, he's got a job opportunity, and he is actually going to leave a little early to go into the job that he's found using the skills. And so that's what we want. We want them to come for 18 months, learn about the Lord, become believers, and then learn skills and trade that they can go either make a living and make their own business or just work in something. And so actually there's been one that's done that. So that's kind of exciting. So yeah, we hope that we hope in this next year that we'll get to hire a man that's either what I would love to have. So I don't know about you, but I have these plans that I want the Lord to do, but sometimes the Lord doesn't check with me first, right? And so sometimes he changes it. But what I would like is a Kamai man that is either a welder or was a woodworker or was a mechanic that knows what it looks like to live like Jesus in that kind of an environment. Because then he can teach the students and he can help them understand how does a believer behave in that. And so that's what we're hoping. So we haven't found that guy yet, but we're hoping we can find one. And then we'll have these experts coming from the States that will help teach him, the other assistants, as well as the students, the other skills that they don't know. Because, not many people know all of those things, right? I don't know all of that. I've kind of goofed around with all of them, but I don't know it. And so that's what we're hoping to do. So it's cool to see one person do that. Carol said it's 10:20. Okay, yeah. So, is that it? Any other questions? Yes, sir.
What's the spiritual atmosphere of Cambodia, and is there opposition to trying to bring the gospel there?
So, excellent. Satan is not happy with it, right? And so there's lots of different avenues. One of the barriers you have in Cambodia, 2 barriers that we'll talk about. The first barrier is complete ignorance. They don't know anything about the Lord. Probably half of all of Cambodians would not have even heard of Christianity or Jesus. Now, they may have heard American religion, but they haven't really heard anything about Christianity. The other part of them have heard something, but they basically heard curse words in the music. They've heard some kind of video, some TV thing. They have no idea about Christianity or about. So we start with Genesis and help them understand there is a God, and so we work all the way up from that. So there's the biggest piece is they don't have any understanding at all of it. The second thing is that because of their animism, they worship their ancestors. Their ancestors means their grandparents, their great-grandparents, their great-great-grandparents, or great-uncles. And so if they become a believer, they have to abandon that. That means that they leave their ancestors. Nobody's taking care of their ancestor then. So there's a complete barrier, a big-time barrier. that might sound a little odd to us, but if you had to never go back and see your mom and dad again, if you became a believer, that would be difficult for you. They're kind of viewing it that way because they have little altars in their house that they're constantly giving rice and burning incense and giving a little tea to, that they're taking care of their ancestors with that. And so there's a barrier of that. So the barriers to becoming a Christian are pretty profound. While they don't get beat up and they don't get killed usually. There's lots of other barriers in it that make it very difficult for them to make that decision. Because in some places it's still seen as a foreign religion. And so we just have to bring the truth to them, and we have to love them and let the Holy Spirit work and to guide. When they hear, and I'll stop after this, when they hear that there is an almighty God who's all powerful, that's exciting to them. Because remember Lokthai, remember the big statue that they're afraid of? They're not doing that because they love him. They're doing it because they're afraid. And when they hear that there's a God that is greater than all, that's really, really good news. There's a verse that says, the truth shall set you free. The truth does set them free as they become aware of God and they accept Christ. And so it's a significant deal. You want me to pray? All right, let's pray. Lord, we love you. Thank you so much for your love for us. Lord, thank you for Jesus. Thank you for your pursuit of us. Thank you for this time, Lord. Thank you for this church and for their support of our ministry and for their love of you. In Jesus'